Question number 5, the Honourable Shane Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To the Associate Minister of Finance, is he satisfied with his performance in regard to his delegations as Associate Minister of Finance?
Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Well, Mr. Speaker, firstly, can I say I'm surprised to see the member here today. I thought he'd be down with his leader opposing oil and gas.
Order. Now that start to that answer is just not going to help the order of this House at all. Would the Minister stand and answer the question that's been asked?
He lost his ticket to the Vegas.
Well, Mr. Speaker.
Order.
Well, Mr. Speaker, that question is for the Prime Minister to judge, not I. It's perhaps worth noting, though, that in 5 years in the role, this is the first time this portfolio has attracted a question in the House from the opposition, which perhaps suggests they haven't seen too much to concern them over that period.
Supplementary question, the Honourable Shane Jones.
So, given that answer and the fact that he is directly responsible for the events which have led to Chorus's precarious financial position, as outlined in delegations transferred to this Associate Minister, Chorus, will he take responsibility for their catastrophic failure, $500 million write-down? Not so smug now.
Honourable
Well, Mr. Speaker,
Honourable Stephen Joyce.
again, I think the opposition needs to line up their attack on this particular one, because they're sitting there saying that the Prime Minister was wrong to say the Commerce Commission would place the company at risk, and now they seem to be suggesting that it does place the company at risk. This is a serious issue. The reality is Chorus was relying on a certain amount of income from copper broadband to help pay for its share of the UFB. The Commerce Commission has made a determination that will at least partially remove that income and some of the money Chorus was relying on, and that may lead to price reductions or it may not. So the government has sought an independent assessment of Chorus's financial position. Once that assessment has been received, we will work through the options to assure the UFB is completed and done so at a very fair cost to taxpayers.
Supplementary question, Honourable Shane Jones.
Explaining is losing.
Order.
Sorry, sir?
If the member wants to continue with the line of supplementary question, I'll invite him to do so, but if he's going to make an interjection like that, again, we'll just move to the next question. Honourable Shane Jones, supplementary question.
To the Speaker. To the Minister, Associate Minister of Finance, does he agree that he should no longer have delegated responsibility for Chorus Limited as Associate Finance Minister, but should in fact have responsibility for Chorus as Minister for Small Business, given that's what it has become under his watch?
Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Mr. Speaker, again, I can only marvel at the gymnastics of the opposition, who are 1 minute telling the government that there is no problem and it should not be solved, and the next minute is saying to the government there is a problem that needs to be solved. It's just playing politics, Mr. Speaker. This government's ultra-fast broadband project is seen worldwide as a success. There is an issue to be dealt with. The government will deal with this issue responsibly, and the opposition will carp no matter what the solution is.
That's right.
Mr. Speaker,
supplementary
to
question,
the Associate Minister
Honourable
of
Shane
Finance.
Jones.
Given his close history to this issue and obvious responsibility for the fundamental failure of Chorus, did it occur to him that he was fouling the reputation of the current chair, Sue Sheldon, apparently a paragon of audit and risk, current chair of Chorus, and the fact that she, in her dealings with him, have presided over a $500 million loss? Does he not agree she has no option but to resign as the Deputy Chair of the Reserve Bank today?
Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I'm sorry, it's very hard to take that question remotely seriously, because the reality of the situation is the Commerce Commission has come up with a determination which is going to create some issues for that company. Those issues are being worked through in a responsible way, and the government is seeking advice in terms of its contract with that company. Mr Speaker, that is being dealt with absolutely correctly. Again, I have to say the opposition need to decide what their view is on this matter, because that member is disagreeing with his leader, who is criticising the Prime Minister for saying there was a problem.
Speaker.
Supplementary question, Honourable Shane Jones.
To the Associate Minister of Finance, given that answer and the advice he is taking on the contract of Chorus and the prospect of that contract being rewritten, does he not agree he provides a precedent for the Green Party to rewrite the contract of Sky City?
Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Sorry.
Oh dear, Mr Speaker.
2 and 2 equals 7.
Yeah, I think that's it. 2 plus 2 equals 45 in Shane Jones's world.
Just address the question.
I thought he was once a Labor leadership contender. Mr Speaker, I reject completely the member's question. It's on another planet.
Point of order. Honourable Senator.
Point of order. So when you measure the level of admonition from one side of the House to the other, it's necessary for you, as we take leave next week, to take account of the fact that that side gets a lot of leeway from you, and you are constantly threatening to throw this side of the House out.
Order. Would the member please resume his seat? I have some sympathy for the point the member's raising. The question asked was a very loaded question. The Minister does not help the order of the House, and on 2 occasions I've had to ask him to desist from doing so. He does not help the order of the House by answering a question with those sort of initial comments. And I do ask the Minister to do so, but my alternative is simply to ask the Minister to leave the chamber. I don't think that offence is, I don't think that is warranted at this stage, but I will warn ministers that if they continue to do that, they leave me no option but to then ask ministers to leave the House. Point of order, Grant Robertson.
Mr Speaker, I'm not in any way challenging the ruling that you've made, but I want to make clear that on this side of the House you have, rightly, in terms of the strict standing orders, admonished people on this side of the House and clearly said to them that the next time they do it, they will leave the chamber. Our concern is that Mr Joyce, particularly, in virtually every answer, breaches standing orders, and we would ask that he is held to the same standard.
Order. And again, well, I will hear from the Honourable Stephen Joyce.
Well, speaking to the point of order, Mr Speaker, I understood the convention was, if it was a politically loaded question, that the Minister in response had the possibility to provide a political response. And I've been very careful whenever I receive a question which is one that is not politically loaded to respond to that question. And I think my history in this House demonstrates that.
Order.
But when it's politically loaded...
I've heard enough, and I can help the Minister with his question. If a politically loaded question is asked, then members who ask such a question can expect an answer back. But it is totally unhelpful for the Minister to initiate his answer with some almost throwaway comment to members on the other side, and that's what they're objecting to. To the point raised by Grant Robinson, I do not want to make a habit of asking members to leave the House. I attempt to give very clear warning to members before I ask them to leave this House, and on this occasion I have given a very clear warning to ministers. Order! I have given a very clear warning that if ministers continue to ignore an instruction that's been given from the Chair, then they can expect the same sort of treatment and being asked to leave the House. Point of order, the Honourable Trevor Mallard.
Mr Speaker, I'd invite you to go back into your ruling and to look very carefully at the question that Shane Jones asked. While it was asked with some flourish, it was essentially a straight question as to whether someone who had made a loss of $500 million was a suitable person to be...
Order. The member, I think, has answered his own point of order. When a question is asked with some flourish, I think was the word used, then it doesn't become a clear, concise, perceptive question. If it's asked in that way, it's loaded with some political connotations, and that's the answer that members can expect back. Question number 6, Jonathan Young.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My